All right, Shalawama Islam to all the Moors. Shalawama, Shalawama. I hope everyone knows what that means by now. If you don't, find out. You need to know. All right, let me check the signal. All right, we're good to go. We're good. Y'all, if y'all here longer than 5 minutes, like the video. If you don't, please go. Please go. All right. So here we go. We are in Cancer. We're in Cancer, all right? This is video or series number 1, episode 1 of Cancer. Hold on. Cancer, this is coming from Mark chapter 6, verse 30 through chapter 8, verse 21. You got something to say? Put it in the comment section, all right? I'll put it on the screen. All right, here we go. My religion is kindness. The Dalai Lama, born July 6, 1935. All right, so let's take a look at the icon or symbol that they have here, the image, the illustration for Cancer. So this is actually the tail. This is the tail of the crab right here. All right. This is the tail. Excuse me. Wow. And this is the symbol of Cancer, the zodiac sign Cancer. Okay, y'all? All right. So we are on page 100. Page 100. And again, you should take note that Cancer is represented by a sea creature. A sea creature. Okay? So we know that the Raphaim live in the land of the dead, which is underneath the sea, right? So we need to be thinking why all of these symbols have to do with the sea. So this is something that, in my opinion, we need to investigate further and change. All right, we need to change these symbols of the zodiac. Why? Because it's harnessing or providing some type of energy for the Dogon, all right? For the corporations, the Catholic Church, etc., 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 okay? Has to do with the consciousness, all right? So we need to change that. John the Baptist and Jesus is our first subheading. The entry of the sun into Cancer on or around June 21st of each year marks the time of the summer solstice. Y'all got that? On, according to this author, on or around June 21st. Why is that significant? Because the winter solstice occurs on December 21st or December 22nd. So we see a straight line. Let me see if I can, how about here? So here is the winter solstice, okay? Let's say the end of my finger. This is winter solstice, December 21st, 22nd. Draw a straight line up here. This is the summer solstice. All right, summer solstice, June 21st, 22nd, a straight line, right? Summer solstice, you guys, scholars, you should recall that the summer solstice, this is Christ. This is the Christ. The orbit in the sky called the SUN sun is at its most northern point in its orbit. Its most northern point in its orbit. So that thus it is called the Christ. All right. Thus it is, what is it? It is higher self behavior. What else is it? It is the climax of intellectual knowledge and of the art of living well, which would include breathing, meditation, care for your body, etc., etc., etc. The highest levels of that. So when you go straight down to the winter solstice, that's when you get what? That's the devil, Satan the devil. All right. Why Satan? Because it's on the opposite. The winter solstice is on the opposite opposer, which is Hashatan. Opposer, opposite end of the same line. In the darkness, people commit crimes, evil doings, murders, robberies. They commit evil. So take the D off of darkness, throw it in front or prefix it to evil, and that gives you devil. This is where we get devil. My dinner just arrived. No, yes, part of my dinner just arrived. I'm going to show y'all what I have. Part of my dinner, thank you. Part of my dinner just arrived, and I'm so happy because I haven't eaten. Really, I haven't eaten dinner. So I'm going to start off eating this. You guys, let me show you. In Vietnam, you are able to eat very well. Fruit. This is called, man, hold on. This is called, I can't remember the name of it right now. But I'm going to start off with, can y'all see that? Let me see. I really don't want to put my hands on my food. But in the U.S., oh, too late now. Y'all take a look at that. So where you guys are at, this is very expensive. Here is cheap. Take a look. And it is delicious. It's ice cold. So I'm going to enjoy my fruit while I do this presentation. And soon my dinner will follow. Okay. And I have this excellent herbal drink. It's a traditional Vietnamese herbal drink. I'm drinking it cold. This herbal drink has a fruity taste. Nice fruity taste, and it's very good for your digestion. So as you can see, DrYasapa eats well in Vietnam. Good food, good life. All right. Okay, so let's continue. We're talking about the so anyway, so that what I want you to remember is that what I just shared with you, this is the concrete natural source of where the concepts, the abstract concepts of good and evil come from. All right, y'all. It's where the abstract concepts of good and evil comes from. So you take that parallel line, okay, the summer solstice and the winter solstice. Let me use this spoon. Look at this spoon. winter solstice, summer solstice. Winter solstice, the sun is at its most southerly point in the sky. I want y'all to see this, okay? Let me see, how can I do this? All right. Most southerly point in the sky. All right. Now, this is the sun here at summer solstice. You see how it's falling towards spring? Now it's at the autumn equinox position. Autumn equinox, spring or vernal equinox. The sun continues to fall in its humiliation. The sun is falling and being humiliated by the darkness. In other words, the number of nighttime hours are exceeding the number of daylight hours. I know we've gone through this a million times, but let's do it again. The sun continues into its humiliation, and then September 29, the sun enters the gates of hell. All right? The sun enters the gates of hell, and the prince of darkness, rules the gates of hell. All right? And here we are now back in the winter solstice and the summer solstice position. This is where JC, the Christ figure, is in hell, where he's given the keys, right? Now, you see that the Christ here is the devil, and the devil here is the Christ. Watch the video I did on this topic. The Christ is YHWH. The devil. They're one and the same, higher self, lower self. All right? There is no Satan in the Old Testament that is portrayed as this fictional creature is in the New Testament, all right? You just won't find it. Now, let's watch Satan spring ascend up. Now here we are at the vernal or spring equinox. And here we are at the winter equinox. Do y'all see? Now we're back at the summer solstice and the winter solstice. My point is this, watch this. The sun falls again. It falls again. This is 12 hours of night, 12 hours of day, 12 hours of night, 12 hours of day. There's no injustice, no inequity, no inequality. Okay? Now, let the sun continue moving in its orbit. In the spring, once we pass the vernal equinox, as you can see, now the number of daylight hours are more than the number of nighttime hours. And in the fall, the number of nighttime hours are greater than the number of daytime hours. This is the natural source, the concrete source of good and evil, or stated otherwise, justice and injustice, inequity and sin. What's the sin? The sin is that there are unequal number of hours of daylight and nighttime. It's not balanced. It's not equal. All right? In this position, in the solstice's position, it's not equal. This is when the sun has its maximum number of daylight hours during the year. The winter solstice is the maximum number of nighttime hours during the year. So this is a huge sin, right? This is a huge inequity. Y'all got it? And now the inequity continues all the way until we get where? Back to the equinoxes, where the Christ comes, Christ returns, right? He brings justice to the earth. So all of this stuff, these concepts, these law concepts have their origin in nature. Yes, that is correct. The law concept of justice has its origin in nature. That is what justice is. Y'all got it? I hope everyone got that. There is your source, your astrological source of justice and injustice, unrighteousness, inequity, sin, etc., etc., etc. Right there in nature, in the cosmos. Let's get back to page 100. Cancer. Be thou open. The entry of the sun into Cancer on or around June 21st of each year marks the time of the summer solstice, the point of the sun's maximum northerly declination. That means the sun doesn't go any higher than that. In June, on June 21st or 22nd, the sun cannot go any higher, so it has to fall down. It begins to descend. Y'all got that? And as it descends, the number of nighttime hours increase, right? Because there's less daytime hours. It's descending. Clear? This is the humiliation of the sun. This is the humiliation of the Christ figure. JC gets beaten. He gets spat upon and beaten. Humiliated. All right? That's the astrotheology or the astrology of it. All right, so the summer solstice is the point of the sun's maximum northerly declination. That means it is the furthest from the earth in the north. All right, let's continue. It continues. From this point onward, the days will gradually but inexorably shorten as the sun sinks lower in the sky, as the sun sinks or falls, right? It's falling southwardly. It's falling southwardly, all right? So the days are becoming shorter. This is what Menelaus calls, quote, the hinge of the year. That's what Menelaus calls the hinge of the year. The blazing turning point, when the sun is recalled and bends back the length of day. All right, what does it mean to bend back the length of day? It means it's going to shorten it. All right, going to shorten it. This notion of quote unquote reversal seems to be common to all the creatures, including the tortoise, the crayfish, and the lobster, in addition to the crab, which have been held to represent the constellation that is called Cancer these days. For Christians, this time of the year has always been associated with John the Baptist, and his birth is celebrated on June 21st, June 24th, June 24th of each year, 3 days after the summer solstice. So John the Baptist was born 3 days after the summer solstice. So y'all should remember that, okay? That's June 24. So you can remember June 24 and subtract 3 and you get June 21. That gives you the summer solstice. Or you can remember the summer solstice and add 3. That gives you John's birthday. However you want to remember it. Don't try to remember both. Remember one or the other and associate that one with the other. All right, so let's continue. So, all right. For Christians, this time of the year has always been associated with John the Baptist, and his birthday is celebrated on June 24th, 3 days after the summer solstice, and 6 months before the celebration of the birth of Jesus. Y'all got that? 6 months before the celebration of the birth of Jesus at the time of the winter solstice. Now, 6 is half of 12, ain't it? 6 is half of 12. On the 25th of December, all right? Okay, so that 6 months falls on December 25. Now, y'all should know that JC, the Christ figure, initially was not said to be born on December 25th. I believe the date is January 6th. Go to the Devil's Pulpit. You'll get that date, his initial birth. Okay? It was changed to December 25th. So keep that in mind as we continue reading. John, we are told in Luke's gospel, was 6 months older than JC, the Christ figure. This is Luke chapter 1, 3 through 6. So if he's 6 months older than JC, well, that takes you back to the summer solstice plus 3 days. Y'all got that? You get that scripture at Luke chapter 1, verse 36. Clear, everyone? Clear? Everyone sees that astrotheology right there? Plain as day. Mark has nothing about the birth of John, but it is curious that he should recount his death. See the previous chapter. Precisely at the point in the narrative when Gemini crosses into Cancer. This could be purely fortuitous, of course, but it could well be, as I suspect, that midsummer has been in some way connected with John from the very beginning of Christianity, at least from the time the Gospels were written, or edited. Then we have to say which edit. The edits that occurred when it was translated into Latin, or the most egregious edits that occurred when it was translated into Greek by the Visigoths up in Rome. That's another citation from the Devil's Pulpit by Robert Taylor. You can go learn more about that if you want. The link to the free PDF is in the description area of this video. So let's continue. I lost my spot. Okay. All right. If this is so, then the implication is that JC, the Christ figure, was always associated with the mid-winter solstice too, and that the celebration of his birth on December 25th was part of the Christian mysteries from the early days, and was not simply a later concession to paganism, as is generally thought. So is now the author referring to JC's initial birthday, which I believe it was January 6th, right? Is that what he's referring to? In any event, what can we say? What can we say? He was definitely not born on December 25th, right? In fact, he was not born at all. He has never been born at all in a fleshly body. But let's take a closer look at what the author said in this sentence. He writes, if this is so, then the implication is that JC was always associated with the midwinter solstice. And I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. Because the literature says that he was alleged to be born on January 6th. So I'm not going to let the author off the hook. Maybe he was always associated with the midsummer solstice. Maybe he wasn't. Right? Maybe he wasn't. All right? But if he was not always associated with the midwinter solstice, that means that the dark priesthood intentionally associated JC, the Christ figure, with the winter solstice. Now, why would they do that? Why would they do that? Knowing that represents wickedness, evil, the devil, Satan, Hashatan. Why would they do that? Because that's who he is, right? That's what he represents. Evil, wickedness. We're dealing with Dogon, Raphaim, Oannes. All right? Look at Capricorn in this book. JC is a Capricorn, right? Go back and look at Aquarius. Okay, if he was born in January, you know what? If he was born on January 6th, I wonder if he's an Aquarius. Let me check this out. Y'all know Aquarius is a dark, cold, January is a dark, cold, brutal month. If you've been with me through our videos on Aquarius, you will know that a lot of destruction takes place in Aquarius. And some of this might be hard for y'all. This might be a big and hard pill for y'all to swallow. But I'm only talking about the astrotheology of it. I'm putting 2 and 2 together for y'all. All right? Cheers. And if you're getting scared, you need to leave now. I don't want you to be scared up in here. If you're getting scared, you're scared, leave now. All right? So I'm going to search for Aquarius. To see what the dates are. All right, give me 1 second. I found it. Aquarius. Give me 1 second, y'all. See if I can find. Get the right search term. Okay, wait a minute. All right, it says January 20th to February 18th. So JC is still a Capricorn. JC is still a Capricorn. This is the corporate stuff and all the horrible stuff that goes along with Capricorn. All right, go back and watch the videos that I did about Capricorn coming out of this book, The Gospels and the Zodiac, The Secret Truth About JC the Christ Figure. All right, so now, if JC was in fact, as the story goes, initially born on January 6th, and they moved his birthday to December 25th, that means that they wanted to associate JC the Christ figure, and I'm talking about the dark priesthood. They wanted to associate JC the Christ figure with evil and wickedness at its height. Where? In the bottomless pit of hell. That's right. The bottomless pit of hell is the winter solstice, because there is no bottom to space according to their theories. All right. So the dark priesthood intentionally put JC there. I didn't make it up. I'm just bringing it to your attention. And you can do with it what you want to do with it. You can ignore it. You can think about it and research it. Or you can pretend like you never heard it at all. That's up to you. Let's continue. If this is so, then the implication is that JC was always associated with the midwinter solstice. We just went through that. He was not. And that his birthday celebration on December 25th was part of the Christian mysteries from the early days. We know that that is not true. January 6th or somewhere thereabout is his original birthday, and was not simply a later concession to paganism. Now, that might be true. However, that might not be true. Why? Because, like I said before, it could be that the dark priesthood wanted to associate him with evil and wickedness, right? Lots of possibilities. Y'all can think up your own possibilities. Put it in the chat. Share it. What do y'all think happened here? Did they move his birthday to December 25th because they're copying paganism, right? That's the normal story, right? Or did they do it because they wanted to associate JC with evil and wickedness, right? To be able to extract more energy or power out of that, harmonizing with nature. Y'all see what I'm saying? Or was it something else? You decide. You think of something. Put it in the chat. Don't be selfish with your thoughts. All right? So now let's continue. The association of the solstitial axis, that's the summer solstice and the winter solstice, the solstitial axis, with the stories of the birth of JC, the Christ figure, undoubtedly owes something to the ancient name for the constellation Cancer, given by Eratos and Kirkinos, and expanded by Eratosthenes to Kirkinos, Oniai Kai Fatni, the crab, the asses, and the manger, and the Latin praesepe, often rendered as beehive, B-E-H-I-V-E, but more appropriately as quote unquote manger, is still the conventional name of the cluster of stars in the center of this otherwise inconspicuous constellation. All right, so there's a cluster of stars in the center of Cancer. They have several names: manger, beehive, etc. I'm not going to go into the other ones because I'm not able to pronounce them properly. But that's what was being said there. Next paragraph on page 101. JC, the Christ figure in John, always contrasted in the Gospels. In the first chapter of Mark, John represents the passing age of Aries. We went through that in Aries, so y'all go ahead and get that if you want more information on that in Aries videos, okay? Okay, John represents the passing age of Aries, which is giving way to the new age of Pisces. Y'all got that? So John represents the ending of the zodiacal age called Aries and the beginning of the Piscean age, the Piscean zodiacal age, all right? Which JC represents the corporate age, corporate religion, corporate nation states, so on and so forth. Corporate what? Corporate persons. Corporate persons. Chattel slavery. But there is also a contrast based upon the symbolism of the two solstice points. JC, the Christ figure, is said to be the light of the world. JC, quote unquote, the light of the world, is said to be born at the time when it starts to wane. Hence, the Baptist's enigmatic words in John's gospel, quote, he must increase. Y'all see that? He's born at the winter solstice, December 25th. The sun can't go any lower than that. It's reached its maximum point south. It cannot go any lower. So what happens? It has to ascend upward and spring upward. Hence, John the Baptist says, he must increase. He must what? Spring upward. He must ascend upward. He must increase to the north. I must decrease. Y'all got that? So, in the winter solstice position, the sun is what? Falling down. The number of daylight hours are getting shorter and shorter every day, and the number of nighttime hours are increasing every day. Y'all got that? This is a quote from John chapter 3, verse 30. Well, that was a quote from John chapter 3, verse 30. In the ancient world, Cancer and Capricorn, the two solstitial signs, were considered the, quote, gates of incarnation. Then we have a colon. The human soul incarnates in Cancer, the divine in Capricorn. Homer alludes to this in book 13 of the Odyssey, where Odyssey encounters two gates in the cave at Ithaca. Chapman translates the passage as thus: there runs a cave to which two entries were, the one for a man, on which the north breathed, the other for the gods, on which the south, and that bore No abodes. So y'all got that? Man is born in the north. Okay. In the north, that's John the Baptist, right? Born June 24th, 3 days after the summer solstice. And in the south, that's where JC the Christ figure was born, December 25th, which is what? 4 days after December 21st and 3 days after December 22nd. That would be the summer solstice. Do y'all get the point? For early men, but only deathless feet had their free way. All right. I'm going to stop right here. Islam to all the Moors. Shalawama. I'm DrYasapa. I'm going to cut it off here. If y'all want to support my work, I want to invite you to buy my books. The links are in the description area of this video. All right. I want you to buy my books on my website, zionlawschool.org. Don't buy them on Amazon. Amazon takes too much money. It's not even worth selling your books on Amazon because they take so much money. All right. So buy my books. Subscribe to the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course. I mean, it's so cheap, it's almost free. I'm almost ashamed to have it so low, and I think I might be doing you guys a disservice because when you give things away for free or almost free, people tend to not appreciate and respect it. Adam's Eve, Shalawama, Islam. All right, or you guys can come to my Saturday class, 506 the Curses course. All right, that's when I take you through the Ibaryath meaning of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 29, verse 14 through 29. Yes, verse 14 through 29. So these are the curses. I take you through the Ibaryath meaning, and I show you wherever there is a lie or deception. I show you these are Jeremiah 8:8 occurrences, right? If y'all don't know what that means, y'all go look at that verse, Jeremiah 8, verse 8. I prefer the Amplified Bible because it's very clear, very modern English, easy to understand. All right, where the others are not easy to understand. Okay, so y'all are welcome to come. That class is Saturday. It's live. It's online. Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Saturday. All right. So I'm going to eat, too bad I can't remember what, dragon fruit. Yeah, this is called dragon fruit. So dragon fruit. One of the things I miss most, when I left Vietnam and went to Mexico, was the fruit and the vegetables. You could get fresh fruit and vegetables everywhere in Vietnam on the street. I mean, everywhere. In Mexico, I was shocked because you can't. And what you could get, I mean, basically, I didn't want it. You know, it didn't look fresh. But anyway, y'all, I'm gonna have my dinner. I got to get up at about 4:30 in the morning as usual to get my day started. And I will be back to do a video in about, I guess, 5, maybe 6 hours. Your time, I think it'll be around 6:30, 6:45 in the evening. it'll be 6:30, 6:45 in the morning for me. Or if I get out, everything goes smoothly, I can get started at 6 in the evening, 6 p.m. your time. Okay. But appreciate you all joining me. Adams Eve, appreciate your comment. And I'm a bounce, y'all. I'm tired. I'm really tired. I need to sleep more. All right. And thank you so much, Adams Eve. Really, really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate your support in every form that it has taken. Okay. All right. And if you have time, I want to personally invite you to come to the 506 The Curses course this coming Saturday. The link is in the description area of the video, okay? And I hope to see you there, all right? Shalom and Islam.